there when this happened. It was a very powerful experience for me. And then I came home and went to Ground Zero. And while I was at Ground Zero, and it was still smoldering, and you could still smell the charred bodies, it was a very powerful experience. I said to myself, I can no longer put this off. I've got to expose the truth behind this. We can't let this happen again. The world needs to know part of the reason of why this is happening. Part of the reason is because there are men and women out there who are EHMs, economic hitmen, like me. The world needs to know this. The citizens of the United States need to know where their tax dollars are going, what happens, where the profits that these big corporations are making off our purchases are going. It needs to be told, because if the American people understand what's going on, they won't put up with it anymore. They'll change it. The systems are all in place for us to change it in a way that will be very positive and make for a much better world. And that's the world I want to see my daughter inherit from me.
And since you've come out with the book, what has been the reaction of those that you formerly worked with?
Well, the book officially just came out a couple of days ago, so it really hasn't been out. But I sent a preview copy to the man who originally hired me, who's now retired, and wrote me a long letter, very interesting, basically substantiating everything in the book, and saying that it's encouraged him to write a book himself. I'm hoping that some of the other economic hitmen will come out of the closet now and talk about this. Some other interesting things that happened, as I mentioned earlier, just this morning, or yesterday actually, the book went to #1 on Amazon.com. I think since then it's dropped back to like 4 or something. But it's amazing how it's selling. It's incredible, and I've been getting some great reaction from the media. But the other side of it is a lot of resistance. I was scheduled to be on a major network show 2 nights ago, a major network show broadcast all over. A conservative show, and I was surprised that they asked me on, but I really welcome the opportunity to speak out to those people, because they're the ones who really need to hear this, and I was one of them once. 2 hours before I was supposed to go on the air, they called and canceled for political purposes, for political reasons. I mean, they said that outright, that we really don't think this is the right time to have you on the show. And that was a little shocking to me and disappointing. I mean, they kept me hanging in there. This was in New York, and I'd flown up to New York to be on this show. As it turned out, I was on other shows too, so it was okay. But it told me so much about the system, and I find it very disturbing that that people like that are not willing to hear the other side. I was fully expecting to be attacked by them, which is fine. I think to have a discourse, even if somebody's attacking you and you have to defend yourself, that's good. I welcome the opportunity for people to call me whatever they want, a liar, say that what I'm writing about is not true. I welcome that opportunity, because I can substantiate everything that I say in the book as far as what's happened in the world. Everything, every event I describe in that book, every assassination, every deal that we did with every country that we did, it is on the record. My own personal story is my personal story, but the deals that came out of that, everything that happened, is totally on the record.
So, and now we are at the point in historical terms of a lot of people say that the empire that we have can't keep going in the direction it's been going, that, as you pointed out, we've fully encircled the globe, and opening up markets is, limited at this point. And you point out that there's every reason to believe that we could do a shift towards taking the structures that we have and putting them to good use. Do you think that people in this country, people of the empire, are willing and ready for that?
Yes, I think they are, if they understand. I think the biggest problem in the empire in this country is that people don't understand. Most of us don't understand what pawns we are to this system, and how only a very few people at the very top are gaining from it. I'm not even sure they're gaining. Here we have the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And if you look at our social statistics, we're probably one of the least happy. If you look at things like suicide rate and drug rate and incarceration and family abuse and family violence. Our statistics are terrible. They tell us that all this material wealth has not brought us happiness. And that's not just true amongst the poor people in our country. It's also true amongst some of the very wealthiest. The rates of divorce, the rates of suicide, the rates of drug abuse are outrageous. So here we've created this empire. It's the wealthiest. It's the first truly global empire. It's not a happy empire. And we've learned from history that empires never last. They always fall. They destroy a lot of people, a lot of cultures, and then they destroy themselves. And of course we're going to go that same route. You can't sustain yourself if you're non-sustainable. And this empire is non-sustainable ultimately. So it will fall. But rather than allow that to happen in a violent sort of a way, in a traumatic sort of way, the other alternative is that we could create something entirely new in history. We could turn this empire into a compassionate republic that takes itself out to the world, embraces the world, unifies the world, brings people together, teaches a lesson of love and compassion. We're in an incredible position to do that. So let's do it. And the only way that's going to happen is if we all become fully conscious of what it is we're doing. Probably shouldn't say fully conscious. If we all become more conscious of what it is we're doing, of what the footprint we're leaving on this earth is doing for our children and our grandchildren, and set as our new goal, our new dream, if you will, one that really honors life throughout the planet, and that rejects this sense that materialism is going to bring us happiness, because we've proven that it isn't. What'll bring, I mean, we need the basics. We all need food, clothing, shelter, and good environments to live in, and the opportunity to love our kids and teach them the things that they need to learn. Everybody all over this planet wants this. A few of us have it, but an awful lot don't, and some people have way in excess of anything like that. They've gone way beyond it. If we could take that concept to everybody on this planet and feel it in our hearts, ooh, what a great opportunity. And you know what? The indigenous cultures around the world, and every culture around the world that I know of, has prophesized this time as a time when that opportunity exists. I mean, it's the new age. It's the new millennium. It's the Christian millennium. The Hebrew culture has a prophecy of this type in it. The Hopi, the Maya, the Quechua, the Shwa, the Achwa, the Tibetans, the Buddhists, the Bons, the Zulus, the Bushmen, the Australian Aborigines, and the Navajo, the Lakota. You can just go through and name it, and every one of them comes back to right now as being a time in history when the opportunity exists to, as the Quechua people in the Andes call it, the Pachacuti, a time to set things right. And we have entered this period by all these prophecies. We are in it right now. And that's not a coincidence.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for spending time with us today.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for all the good work you're doing.
We've just been talking with John Perkins. He is author of Confessions of an Economic Hitman.